Subrogation payments in CaseWORTH are entered as insurance payments to medical providers. When the case settles, subro carriers expect to be reimbursed for any medical payments they have made. The firm can sometimes withhold a cost of collection from these reimbursements, which typically goes to the claimant's net. Payments made by MedPay or PIP subro sources are unique in two ways. First, they are available to the insured party regardless of fault or whether insurance is available from the other party to pay medical bills. Second, subro sources are not reimbursed for MedPay or PIP payments, so MedPay and PIP typically apply to the claimant's net. CaseWORTH tracks subro payments by applying them to a medical statement or bill charged by some medical provider. We plan to make a future enhancement to CaseWORTH that will enable MedPay and PIP to be tracked directly. Until then, MedPay payments must be applied to a medical provider statement just like any other subrogation payment. Start by creating a medical provider to act as a placeholder for MedPay or PIP payments. If you have created a MedPay provider in the past, it will be available to all cases like any other medical provider in CaseWORTH. The MedPay provider will automatically have one statement attached. Leave this MedPay provider statement billed amount set to $0. Add the MedPay or PIP payment to this zero billed amount statement. In this case, let's say the client had $1,000 of MedPay coverage from Blue Cross. So select Add Subro Source and press Tab to open the Subro Source dialog. Add Blue Cross as the MedPay Subro Source. Note, Blue Cross might make other non-MedPay payments on this case. If so, you need to create a separate Blue Cross Subro source so you can track any MedPay payments separately from any non-MedPay Blue Cross Subro payments. The regular Blue Cross payments will be subject to reimbursement and cost of collection. That's why I named this Subro source Blue Cross MedPay. Be sure to leave the cost of collection percentage at 0 since there will be no reimbursement to the insurance company from which cost of collection might be withheld. Notice since the MedPay placeholder medical provider billed $0, the $1,000 payment pushes this doctor to a credit balance, indicated by the parentheses around the total paid and total due. This credit balance carries up to all medical payments due on this case. If the medical bills remaining due are covered by some other insurance or negotiated down by the attorney, the $1,000 remains in the case and ultimately goes to the claimant net. This next step is very important. To avoid including this MedPay amount in the subro to be reimbursed, we need to mark it as a Do Not Pay item on the Expenses and Liens Due tab. Notice when you check the Do Not Pay option, the total due on that line is stricken through. The Expenses Liens Due tab button also updates from $5,000 to $4,000, indicating less disbursements will be due on this case. On the settlement calculator, you can see the $1,000 has been applied toward the medical bills in this case, and $6,000 of the $10,000 settlement goes to the client. Note we didn't add a firm fee here to keep the math simple. Let's go back to the Medical Expenses tab and enter a $5,000 subro payment from Medicare to cover the medical bill from UTMS Hospital. Now the grand total due in the gray totals area at the top of the tab shows a credit of $1,000. Back on the settlement calculator, we see the credit balance of $1,000 on medical expenses due. We see the new $5,000 subro reimbursement due to Medicare, and see that the claimant net remains at $6,000. Of course, there will likely be subro adjustments to medical provider bills, cost of collection on subro reimbursements, and some negotiations by the attorney on amounts due. Regardless of how this all plays out, the MedPay amount is always in the claimant's favor. Remember, each CaseWORTH license includes 1 hour of free support per year. If you have any questions, please contact us. We'll be happy to help.